you're playing a preseason game, whether you're playing in the Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, if you treat it the same, it's just ball, man. It's 60 minutes, potentially plus, of flying around with your brothers and having a great time and playing the greatest game in the world. The standard is always the standard. The media doesn't determine the standards. The opponents don't determine our standard. The standard is the standard, and we compete every day.
It's week number 4 of this National Football League season. Time for another edition of Cowboys Huddle with Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer. I'm Bill Jones. We got Sunday Night Football this week. It's the Green Bay Packers in town. And Coach, us in the media and fans and the TV network executives, when this game comes out on the schedule, it's circled because it's Sunday Night Football and the long storied history of these franchises going back to those NFL championship games of the 60s. Easy to get excited about football this Sunday night, right?
Yeah, it is. It is easy to get excited, Bill. I think the biggest thing for us, though, we try to not downplay it, but each game is the same to us, the same value. You got to find a way to win games. But this one will be fun because the fans will be going crazy, and it's two really, really good teams that definitely have stories.
And part of the stories, of course, was the trade that was made. I call it the Kenny Clark trade. Yep. A month ago. But what is it, when you talk to the team this week, and what is the important thing for them to focus on coming off the game last week and eliminating the noise about Micah returning? And that
I mean, we know Micah plays for them, but Micah's not their only good player. They've got a great quarterback in Jordan Love. They've got good receivers. Jacobs, the back's a special player. Rashawn Gary's pretty good in his own right, the linebackers. So this is not us versus Micah. This is really us playing the Green Bay Packers. They're a really good team. And our focus this week is honestly going to be on us. And the mindset we started is, hey, we want to go 1-0 this week. And how do you do that? Well, it's how you prepare through the meetings, how you work during practice, how you study film, how you take care of your bodies. And that's the objective, to find a way to win a game on Sunday night.
It's interesting when you look at this matchup. Jeff Hafley, of course, a defensive coordinator, former head coach at Boston College. You've got a guy on your staff who we're going to hear from later in the show, Steve Shimco, your quarterback's coach. There's some inside knowledge on what Jeff Hafley likes to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff's a hell of a coach. And, what I like what he does is he's very specific to the opponent. He keeps you guessing on third down. He mixes up his coverages, things like that. But, he's got that 49er background, and you see a lot of that in the way the style they play. Some similarities to the attack front and stuff that we're doing on our defense.
All right, when you look at your offense, and you're dealing with some injuries, of course, now, but in particular on the offensive line now, losing Cooper Beebe and Tyler Booker, what I like about the makeup of this roster in the offseason, what Will McClay and the whole staff did, was you had some depth on this offensive line to be able to get through times like this, right?
Without a doubt. Injuries are part of the game. They're going to happen. You never want them to happen multiple weeks in a row and in the same position. But a guy like TJ Bass will go out there and he'll play really, really well like Brock Hoffman did last week. And the name of the game is you got to step up and maximize your opportunities. And our guys do that. And our guys know that we're a family and we're a brotherhood, and it takes all of us to get this thing done.
And you've said from the get-go that this team is going to be running the football right now, second in the league in yards per carry, led, of course, by Javonte Williams.
Yeah, I think, we're really, really excited with where we are from a run game standpoint. It's something that we believe in terms of owning the line of scrimmage. Looking back a little bit last week, I felt like, we had to go. The score got to the point right when the fourth quarter started. We were down 17, and we just had to kind of speed up the pace of the game. But, the way we're running the football from a physical standpoint up front, the combination blocks that we have, and then not just Javonte, but Miles Sanders is running really well. And it's the formula that we want and the formula that we need to have success.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of Cowboys Huddle. Next up, we head to the film room with Will McClay.
Cowboys Huddle with Brian Schottenheimer, powered by Reliant, is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, what would you like the power to do? And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
And Cowboys Huddle continues now here inside the Globe Live studio. Bill Jones with Will McClay. We got the telestrator out, taking a look at what the Packers offer on both sides of the football. Let's start on offense. How about we start with the running game and Josh Jacobs, number 8 here, who's basically been a bell cow back for him. He had 300 carries last year.
Yeah, 1,300 yards last year. And again, the offense, you think about all the bells and whistles, but they want to run the football first. It's kind of that San Francisco Rams offense. All right, you're going to see a lot of zone stuff. You're going to see a lot of motion. So there's the back. You get motion. Motion kind of tells them where the defense is. So you'll see this. They're going to motion the receiver, slide the defense over a little bit. Tight end goes and kicks out. The back sets up the linebacker by his path, and he's able to explode through that crease.
All right, now let's take a deep dive into the tight end position. And Tucker Kraft, here's a guy who's a third-round pick a couple of years ago, and their leading receiver this season.
Leading receiver this year, and the quarterback's best friends, a running game and a tight end. So here you go. You're going to combine the two. They're down here in the red zone. They're going to hop the back over. It's going to look like a zone read, but what it is, that corner comes down, and he knows he's got his big tight end. He can put it up and make a big play right there.
So a big red zone threat, and here's another example right here.
Yes, here he is getting vertical. Now, again, the way they use their personnel, they're kind of in a 3-by-1 formation. They're going to use a little motion, tell them what it is, and then they know they got man coverage. He's looking at the safeties. One of them's high, one of them's low. The high guy, he's probably playing deep. He sees it now. He at the snap of the ball, tight end goes. He's got the tight end man-to-man. He's throwing it up high so the tight end can get it. He trusts him that much.
And you can see the athleticism of Tucker Kraft. All right, let's go on the defensive side of the football. Talk about athleticism. Number 7 at linebacker, Quay Walker, former first-round draft pick.
We all know about their front 7. They got guys that can rush the passer, all that. But the linebacker is the key in this. Former first-round pick. He's 6'3", 240 pounds, runs a 4.4. He's starting to get and really understand the game. He's directing the front here, but when the linebacker's feet matches the running back's feet, they're looking at the right thing, and you watch this. Back's trying to cut it back. He's got nowhere to go in that quickness and explosion.
And that's a pretty good run team they're up against right there in the Detroit Lions. Another example here, Quay Walker in pass coverage.
Yeah, again, you think about the scheme and the pieces fitting in it. What the Lions are going to do, they're going to go with a 3-by-1 kind of formation. They're going to be playing cover 2. The linebacker's job is to run down the middle, but you watch him dissect the route here, and it shows how he's progressed. So we're going to look at it here. He's shadowed here. They're going to go 1, 2, 3. You'll see the receivers. 1's going to sit down. 2's going to go vertical. Now 3's coming. You watch him and watch his eyes. 1 sits down. He looks up 2, and now being in the window and almost a super athletic play, but that shows his intelligence and how he's playing in zone coverage.
All right, so there's Quay Walker at linebacker. How about at safety? Xavier McKinney, what a free agent pickup last year. He had 8 interceptions a year ago.
Yeah, those Giants have been giving it away. There's Xavier here. We're going to watch him at the safety. He was a Pro Bowl safety, and what his job is to go get the football. So he's going to read the quarterback. It's a half roll. Now you're going to see that burst and acceleration and track the ball at the right angle, the high point of the football. There's none better in the back end than him.
A defensive version of Saquon Barkley, right? Okay, Will McClay, we appreciate it. And up next here on Cowboys Huddle, it's Kavonte Turpin.
You want to say start with him, but to me it starts right with 52, Gary, a guy that's been there for a long time. And then obviously they've got some young interior guys as well, guys they have to feel confident in. When you make a trade, getting rid of a guy like Kenny Clark, who to me was their best interior guy, but then even Van Ness outside, they've got a lot of talent. They're good at what they do. They believe in themselves. But so are we, and we're confident in the scheme and what we're going to put together.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
Welcome back to Cowboys Huddle. Bill Jones here inside the Globe Life studios at the Star in Frisco, getting you ready for the Cowboys and the Packers. Time to go behind the Star now with Cowboys quarterbacks coach Steve Shimco.
Steve Shimco, 4th year in the NFL, 2nd year with the Cowboys. When football just was taken away from me because of injury, I wasn't ready to leave it. So I thought I was just going to kind of hang around as a student assistant to kind of get that urge out and then go into the workforce. But it was just something I just couldn't get away from. And it's something that's very much a part of my life, part of my family's life. And I just kind of love being around ball, love being around the guys, love the locker room, talk, be both as a player and a coach. It's just something that's very special and unique, and you have those times. Like I can't always remember the wins and losses, but I remember everyone on the staffs, all the players, and like just the relationships and the funny stories or funny times, sometimes even the bad times that you spend with them. And it's just something that's kind of always stuck with me is like, man, you just always have those stories that you can keep building and building with these. Every year is a new chapter, and it's just cool. It's just fun to be around and fun for my family to be around, so we really love it. I grew up a Cowboy fan, so this is like a dream come true to work here. It was a dream come true last year just to be in the analyst spot and kind of work with the receivers, just to be a part of the star, be a part of the Cowboys. I'm a Cowboy fan through and through, so being able to coach, one of the, if not the most important position on the team is just, it's an incredible opportunity. Got a great room between Dak, Joe, and Will. Schotty's obviously in there a lot because he and I, again, see things very similar, and it's just been awesome to be a part of. I mean, you coach tight ends much differently than you coach quarterbacks. You coach the offense when you're the coordinator much differently than you coach as a position coach. But I'd say overall, I just like to be, again, I like to build relationships. I am hard on guys. I'm not necessarily a screamer, but I am pretty hard as far as grading, as far as demanding, very detail oriented. And I think the only way you can do that is being in a good relationship with the guys and understanding what makes them tick and understands kind of, what they're dealing with off the field too, and what they're dealing with in their personal life, just to make sure that everything is clicking and everything is tied together. And if you're clean off the field, you'll be clean on the field most of the time.
Cowboys offense missing CeeDee Lamb, but it's time for Kavonte Turpin to step up perhaps in this Cowboys offense, and time for the player spotlight. It is Kavonte this week.
Kavonte Turpin, in my 4th year in the league, play wide receiver. I came into this year, trying to prove people, trying to prove the whole world, that I'm a wide receiver, just not no special teams gadget guy. That when I came in the league, that's a name I made for myself, to be a special teams guy. So I try, each and every day I try to come in here and try to be the best version of myself. Even for the coaches, even for myself, even for Dak. So I just try to put the work in, just try to go out there and just be me. The mindset I be going on, I be ready to just, hope I get some space, And my main man said, be like, if I got some room, I'm trying to score the ball, That'd be the main mindset, or try to get like 2 first downs for the offense. But my main goal is, every time I get that ball, anytime, especially on kicks, I'm trying to go score. So when I don't get those opportunities, it'd be very frustrating. I try to get it out of my head, but being the playmaker I am, I would just, it just be frustrating when they try to kick it away from me. The moment that defined me, when I won MVP of the USFL, because at that time I thought, I was 26, I was jumping from league to league, trying to get it to the NFL. And I told myself that was, when I went to the USFL, that was probably my last chance, to get to the NFL. So I said that was one of my biggest moments, because I went over there and turned the league up. So I just stayed true to myself, knew what type of person I was, kept faith in God. I always knew that I was gonna make it or have a chance to. So I just kept faith in myself. I try to think about all the people that I lost, try to say like I'm doing it for them. That's one of the main things, especially like one of my best friends that died when I was, when we was like 14. And I say my other best friend that died in the car wreck, when we was at TCU. So I just try to keep those guys in my mind, let them know that, we out here doing good. I just want to go out there and just make plays, even without the ball in my hands, even I could just go over there and just be just a run-off guy, doing it for CD, doing it for GP. And we're gonna work each and every day, to get to the championship.
Kavonte making an impact both on offense and on special teams. When we come back here on Cowboys Huddle, the coach rejoins us as we go deeper into these Green Bay Packers.
This segment is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com.
Cowboys Huddle continues here inside the Globe Life Studios. Bill Jones now rejoined by head coach Brian Schottenheimer. Coach, let's talk about these Packers a little bit. Matt LaFleur, now in his 7th year as the head coach of the Packers, has done a terrific job in his time there. What do you see offensively from the Packers with Matt LaFleur?
Yeah, again, Matt's another guy. It's crazy. He's been there 7 years. It shows you how fast time flies. But, again, they really want to do a good job of running the football. That's kind of hang their hat on that. They're awesome with their shifts and movements, and they're going to challenge you with getting your change of strengths and your calls and what are you going to do with the nickel and things like that. And then the quarterback. I mean, Jordan, it's been fun to watch him kind of progress over the last couple of years and see kind of the mastery of the system that he has right now. There's weapons, there's speed, and they play the system that they do well. But again, I think they're going to come here and want to run the football. They didn't run the ball as well against Cleveland that they have in the first couple games, and I think that'll be a big part of what they try to do early on.
It's interesting. You look at Jordan Love, and sort of a late bloomer in his career at Utah State, wasn't highly recruited out of high school, and then gets an opportunity for 3 years to learn the NFL before he got his opportunity. He's making the most of it now.
There's a lot of ways to do it, and I really do believe that I still feel like that's the best way to do it, to sit and watch, especially if you're playing behind a really good player that's a veteran, and you have a chance to listen and learn and see what they're doing, and you still get some reps and opportunities in practice and maybe even in certain games. But watching as a quarterback in the National Football League specifically, I think is a very powerful tool.
All right, what does Matthew Golden do for this Packers offense? Here's a guy with 4.29 speed. Of course, the people around here know him from his not only his Texas Longhorn days, but Houston Cougar days, and he's dangerous on kickoff returns as well.
Absolutely. Big-time returner, big-time speed guy. You feel him when he's out there. He's going to challenge us to make sure we stay on top. Because it doesn't take much for him to get by people because of his speed and explosiveness. We really liked him coming out, and he will challenge you because of the speed and the explosiveness.
All right, you look at your run defense and top 10 in the league in terms of yards per carry, and Kenny Clark's been a big addition to this team.
Incredible, man. I think, and what's been so great about him, Bill, is just like he's looked at this the way we've all talked about it, right? It's just another game. It's just another championship opportunity. Of course, he's going against his former team where, again, he has so many memories and things like that. But you talk about a guy that's the same guy every day. Kenny Clark is a special player, special person, and, man, I can't tell you how fortunate we are as the Cowboys to have him.
All right, coming up here on Cowboys Huddle, it's Schotty's shot for this week.
Of course, when you've been somewhere for 9 years, it's hard to not have those emotions, but it's another game. It's another game at the end of the day. I'm going to be amped up. I'm going to be ready to go and prepare, do everything I got to do in order to help my team win. But at the end of the day, we're trying to get 1-0 this week.
This segment was brought to you by blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com.
Final couple of minutes of Cowboys Huddle. Bill Jones with Brian Schottenheimer, and it's time for Schotty's shot for this week. As the Cowboys take on the Packers, I love your shot for this week because this guy came from Packer country, got to Texas as quick as he could, and that, of course, is Jake Ferguson, your tight end.
Yeah, with Fergie, football's in his blood, man. I mean, you talk about the grandson of the great Barry Alvarez, and you think about power football, physical football, and Fergie has all those attributes. But you talk about a guy that's just, really developing into a great player over the first couple years of his career. He gets rewarded with a very well-deserved contract, and it's not changed the guy a bit. So you watch this guy play and what he does. He had just a ton of catches for us the other day. What you don't realize from Fergie is how nimble he is with the ball. You see him usually make the first guy miss, and again, there's just incredible trust between he and Dak. And that's what I think you love. You always talk about tight ends and their ability to work the middle of the field, and they're the quarterback security blanket. And Fergie is that, but the way he plays the game, Bill, you have to love the guy and respect him.
Yeah. Can you tell, the more you've gotten to know Jake over the last 3 years, that he's got his grandfather in his blood there as far as the coaching? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree?
Well, Barry's from Pittsburgh. My father's from Pittsburgh, so there's a lot of the Pittsburgh ties. But, yeah, the physicality that Jake plays with, you watch him trying to run through people here. It takes 3 or 4 guys to bring him down. That mindset and the way Jake is guys wired. Our guys feed off of that. They really do. And again, just very well deserving of all the accolades, but it's not changed him one bit.
And it was a 13-catch game last week for Jake Ferguson against the Chicago Bears. That does it for this week's edition of Cowboys Huddle. For Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer, I'm Bill Jones. We appreciate you joining us, and we will see you again next week on Cowboys Huddle.
Cowboys Huddle with Brian Schottenheimer, powered by Reliant, was brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, what would you like the power to do? And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys.